Hey there guys, so today we have another review and I'm excited to bring you guys another installment of the Bourbon County series. This is 13 and 14 Bourbon County coffee. You guys have been clamoring for this and I'm really excited to bring it to you guys. And basically this, if you guys don't know, is Bourbon County brand stout, which is a bourbon barrel aged pure stout from Goose Island. And what they do is they throw in, I don't know if earlier or later on in the process, they throw in a double strength concentration cold brew of coffee. So basically they cold brew coffee and it's concentrated and they pour it into the beer and it's, obviously you're adding coffee into beer. So you're going to lower the ABV. 13 comes in at 13.4. 14 comes in at 12.6. So it's pretty interesting. I'm really excited to sort of compare the two. You're going to have a good amount of variables. You're going to have the age on 13. That's going to be different from the fresh beer, 14. You're going to have the batch differentials. I'll post you guys to my barley wine Bourbon County review. The Bourbon County 13 and 14 are pretty different. Actually listened to an interview from Brett Porter, one of the head brewers at Goose Island, and he talks about how temperature fluctuation is a reason why Bourbon County changes from year to year. Sort of think of a bourbon barrels as a sponge, and sort of when the cold weather comes in, it squeezes out bourbon into the beer, and then when the summer comes in, it soaks in bourbon into the barrel and the wood, and that kind of fluctuation of temperature sort of influences the beer. So it is a beer that changes from the barrels and with temperature. So that's pretty interesting. And so we have age, we have temperature, batch differential, and coffee. 13 coffee was made with El Salvadorian coffee. 14 is with Rwandan coffee. So really interesting stuff. I guess with a vertical, we'll go 14 first. So this is my 14 glass. I just poured it into this one. So. I'm getting a nice kind of medium kind of roast, a little bit of this kind of black coffee with a little bit of sugar in there kind of aroma. Nice and sweet, a little bit of bourbon, but it really is a coffee bomb. Cheers. Wow. The beer is very sweet up front. A lot of like caramel, brown sugar kind of sweetness. The bourbon complements that, but it really is a big kind of sugary sweetness I get in the beer. It does remind me of 14. Sorry, the base beer sort of has this kind of old kind of flavor. I believe Brett Porter called the 14 beer to have a flavor of witch hazel, which I do not know exactly what it tastes like, but I think I do. It's like one of those things that sort of, it's like a medicinal kind of herbal flavor maybe, but whatever. He calls it witch hazel. I think I'm picking out the same note that he is, and it's just, I call it like old and like spicy. Coffee is spikes up in the middle of the palate. It's sort of like a espresso bean kind of rich kind of bitter kind of coffee, but it sort of goes like, it spikes up on the mid palate, flies away a little bit. You get a little bit of that roasted bitterness on the back end, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of bourbon. It's a little watery. It's a little unbalanced of a beer, but it's still obviously quite delicious. I just find it slightly thin, and again, as I was saying, it has spikes of flavor. You get the sweetness, you get the bitterness. It sort of fades away. It doesn't really gel together very well. 13. Cheers. Ooh, wow. This one, I get a much more longing kind of roast. It's a richer kind of roasted coffee. It's sort of like walking into a coffee shop or something. It's in your face. It's this kind of rich, kind of dreamy kind of coffee that's sort of just floating along the room. Coffee, bitter, not coffee, dark chocolate. Almost like a cocoa nib. Cheers. Definitely smells better than the first one. Wow. Whoa. Oh, yeah. That is good, guys. Holy smokes. Wow. If you gave me these two beers blind, I might not be able to pick out the same beer. And that's how crazy the differences are. I believe it is because of, I guess it's all three variables: age, the batch variation, and the coffee. For me, it might be the base beer, might be one of the bigger influences. This base beer is just not as good as last year's. And I noticed that immediately. For some reason, this one somehow has more carbonation. When I poured it out, it even had like a big kind of head floating up to it. The mouthfeel is gorgeous. It's not as watery, not watery for 12, 13% beer. But this one has a nice kind of pop of lusciousness up front. The coffee offers this kind of delicious kind of cake coffee thing. I mean, I don't know how to describe it other than bourbon and coffee put into Black Forest cake. It's that kind of dense, kind of chocolatey cake, ganache slash mousse slash brownie, kind of just wonderful vanilla drenched dessert chocolate thing. And then you put in some coffee and bourbon in there, and that's exactly what it is. It is a dessert delight. Yeah, you hit up front with that nice, beautiful, like medium roasted coffee, but it has this tad of sugar behind it, so sort of caramel sugars to sort of balance out that bitterness, but it flows on the palate throughout. As I was saying with this one, it sort of jumps around on you with the sweetness and the bitterness, and then, you know, has a little bit of like, you know, black coffee flavor. This one is just a harmonious kind of beer. Everything is just combined. On the back end, you get even more desserty kind of vanilla sweetness and bourbon and all that delicious stuff. Reminds me slightly of barrel-aged biscotti break, if you ever had that beer. That beer, to me, reminds you of this cakey, bourbony kind of good beer. This beer reminds me of that. What is that? Yeah. It's just not as complex and well put together. So that's really surprising for me. Guys, if you have bottles of 14, trade it for 13 if you can, or drink your 13. I don't know what to do. The 14 is decently disappointing compared to the 13. That is a huge surprise for me. I've had Bourbon County coffee twice in the past few weeks, and I've been blown away by it. And it tastes like this one, which is very confusing for me, because imagine the bar has just got, you know, fresh 14 kegs of Bourbon County coffee, but the two times I had it, I ordered multiple glasses because I am in love with that beer. And I don't know what's up, because I thought I loved Bourbon County 14. This is the first bottle I've ever opened. I thought I loved Bourbon County 14. Apparently I do not. This is not that great. The 13 is incredible. So that makes me want to say that the 13 coffees were the ones that I ran into at the bars for the release of Bourbon County. So that's confusing. I don't know why that would happen, but maybe the bottles are different from the keg. I don't know what it is. This bottle's not drinking great. The 14, the 13 is out of this world, guys. That's exactly what I had on tap. It tastes exactly what I had on tap. It is so weird. I don't know what happened. If you guys have any explanation for that, I don't know. But anyway, let me know if you guys have had any bottles of 13 or 14 recently. If you had one or the either, post your comments on what you think about either beer. Yeah, until next time, guys. This is one of my favorite beers, and the 13 is absolutely stellar. I'm jealous. I'm actually not jealous. I feel bad that I don't have any more of it left. But this 14, maybe I'll age more. Maybe the age will help this beer out. It's still quite delicious. Until next time, guys. Cheers later, and thanks.